The hardstyle plank and the tactical pull-up are both great ways to practice the hollow body position that counters all of our work that we do in extension, say heavy pressing or the act of extending aggressively through the swing. Getting balance on the front and back side of the spine means recruiting our abdominal muscles. Like I said, the plank, the pull-up, those are great ways to do it. Here's a little bit more active way to do it, and one that I really like because it's more accessible than the pull-up, and it gives you a little bit of variety as opposed to the static tension of the hardstyle plank. It's also something that you can progress or regress. Later on, I'll be doing an instructional video on the dead bug, which is a good regression of the exercise that I'm about to show you. And maybe at some point you'll be able to do a hanging leg raise, which is a progression of the exercises that I'm about to show you. So it's leg lowering. The idea is that you're maintaining a hollow body position, and that doesn't really mean like maximally flexed. It means getting your lumbar spine to be less extended than it normally is. So the idea of pressing the low back hard down into the floor isn't really something that we want to focus on here. Just maintain the same level of contact between your low back and the floor throughout the movement. So we want to have some contact. You want to make sure that your low back is in contact with the floor. You don't have, once you get that, you don't have to press any harder down into the floor, but as your legs are moving, that low back is going to try to lift up off the floor. I want you to maintain contact, and ideally the same degree of contact throughout the movement. So, like I said, a regression of this would be the dead bug, which we'll do an instructional video on later. It's a way I can practice this same movement, but without using a biomechanical breathing match, meaning a power breath, essentially. In leg lowering, it's a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to be using that power breath. So I'm going to have my hands out to my sides just a little bit for this first variation. I can go palms up. That's going to allow me to keep a nice neutral shoulder position as I perform my leg lowering. But if I need a little bit of help, I can turn the palms down and sort of press into the floor as well. That's going to give me a little bit of support and take some of the workload off of my abdominals as I do this. So I'll go palms up to start off with, see if I can manage that. Okay, so right away, you can see that my legs are straight up and my feet are in dorsiflexion. There is a hot, buzzing burn back here because I've been sitting a lot lately and my hamstrings are tight. This is a combination of trunk stability and hip mobility that we're working on. If you've got very tight hamstrings, your tailbone may actually be up off the floor when you're doing this because your hip isn't able to get into this nice right angle to the floor. It maybe goes here, and then the rest of the way up is your pelvis actually coming up off the floor. That's fine. It just means you're going to be doing a little bit more work on trunk stability, which you probably need anyway. So, legs are straight up. Hot, buzzing burn from lack of hamstring length. Lower one leg as you inhale. I'm only going so far down as I can while maintaining contact between my low back and the floor. I don't want an arch to be created there. I want to maintain that hollow body position. I've got the power breath. It may be like the push-up, kind of the middle third of my full capacity inhale and my full exhale. I might be kind of in the middle third here. Something I often see with this is as one leg is lowered, the other tries to go down as well. That's going to make it really hard to control the spinal position. You may have to focus on pulling the leg that's staying upright towards you as you lower the other leg. So if you have a tendency for that second leg to try to lower at the same time, you might have to focus just as much as pulling that leg this direction as you are on controlling the spine as you lower the other leg. This is just one version with the arms down. Another version is to use a kettlebell as a counterweight. So I've got my thumbs hooked through the handle here. I'm going to lower it back a little bit. So I'm getting more muscle involved in this version of leg lowering, but mostly through the upper extremities, the lats, the intercostal muscles of the rib cage, maybe the upper portion of rectus abdominis is getting a little bit more involved. But I'm actually, because of the counterweight, I don't have to work quite so hard to maintain that neutral spine. So the deep muscles of my trunk aren't working quite as hard with the kettlebell as they are when my hands are just down at my side. Now another version with the kettlebell is to actually crunch up a little bit and then lower the bell down, but only so far as you can while keeping the rib cage off the floor so that the low back is the only thing in contact. Now I've got a lot more involvement in the abdomen because my abdominal muscles are keeping my rib cage up off the floor, as well as the weight of that kettlebell, as well as the weight of my legs. So you can progress leg lowering to whatever degree of difficulty you need it to be. You can also regress it to dead bug. Stand by for more videos on dead bug progression. But it's just a great way to counter all of the extension that we put in with our swings, presses, deadlifts, squats, etc. And it adds some variety to just plain planking when it comes to maintaining the hollow body position. It's also a lot more accessible than the hollow body pull-up or hanging leg raises, in which you're hanging from a pull-up bar and performing your abdominal exercises. Those are a little bit harder. I may have to find a gymnast to demonstrate those videos, those techniques for you in videos in the future, but stay tuned for those progressions as well. All right, thanks very much.